Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you some stories in relation with the United States and China. So a lot has been happening recently, and let's get started. The first one is about this Senator Rick Scott. He recently visited Taiwan, and then he went and he met with Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen, and at the same time Beijing delivered warnings against Washington growing ties with Taipei. If you know, China has repeatedly saying that it doesn't like these semi-official visits of diplomats to Taiwan, because the official policy of China is that Taiwan is a province and it should not have official diplomatic relationships with any country. But the United States constantly provokes reactions from China, sending these diplomats to visit Taiwan, and is provoking a reaction from China. They do this constantly, and the president of Taiwan say that he was giving thank you to Senator Scott for introducing the Taiwan Invasion Prevention Act. This bill will give whoever president is in power to intervene if China attacks Taiwan. That means military powers, war powers. The only positive thing about this story is that it hasn't been approved. Apparently there is not enough support for this to be approved, but regardless, he keeps trying. He did it already 2 times, and they also say that China is often responding to these US delegations visit by stepping up military activity near the island, and just recently some Chinese fighters crossed the median line that separates the 2 sides of the Taiwan Strait. So this is related to the second story here. So let's take a look at this. Is reported by US News, and they say Chinese fighter jets crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait Friday morning in a provocative move that seriously damaged regional peace and stability, Taiwan defense minister said. The median line of the waterway is an official buffer through which neither side's aircraft normally fly. So this is again just a response to a provocation from the United States, but the wording is telling the opposite. So if someone sees this, they will say, oh, it's true. Actually, China is doing provocative things, is stepping up tensions, is creating stability in the region. So there is nothing provocative about this. This is a reaction. But the Taiwan's defense minister framed it like it was China that it was doing something. No? How is this damaging regional peace and stability when their own president is giving thank you to a US senator that has nothing to do in Taiwan in a semi-official visit, when the guy has created legislation to basically create problems for China and for Taiwan, for everyone, and they really don't care. They don't care about this. Like they don't care about Ukraine currently. It's like the same methodology that the United States is using everywhere in the world. They don't change. They have the same rules, the same book, so they follow the same procedure, the same process every single time. They are really very predictable. And there was this conversation between chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, and his Chinese counterpart, the General Li Suosheng. And in this conversation, also, there was a call. They say that he asked Washington to cease U.S.-Taiwan military collusion. As you know, the United States has stepped up its informal ties with Taipei, including stepping up support for the Iceland military. So they continue to provide Taiwan with military equipment, which is in itself a very provocative act, but they don't care about it. That's what they want. They want to provoke a reaction. That's what they want to say. And this guy Scott, he said that Senator Scott, Rick Scott, he says that he wants to see Taiwan join the US-led Rim of the Pacific exercises, which is billed as the largest international maritime drill. And during this meeting that took place between Mark Milley and Li Zuocheng, he also warned that China will respond to any wanton provocation with a firm counterattack, but also called for more cooperation between the US and China. So I agree with this. I think conversation needs to be maintained, diplomacy needs to be maintained. I think it's the worst thing that they are breaking relations with Russia, because everything becomes more grave after it's impossible to talk. But they decided to do it this way because they already got their way. They got the war they wanted, so now they don't see any need to further talks anymore. And this will happen. It will happen the same with China. And then there was this recent meeting between the FBI and MI5, and they were making all kinds of claims. So now Beijing has rejected these allegations from the US and British officials. They say that China is stealing from Western firms, and at the same time they are accusing the United States as the biggest threat to world peace and development. This is absolutely true. This is coming from Chao Lijian, and he was urging Washington and London to cast away imagined demons and stop playing up the China threat. Well, this is like this. They continue to do this all the time. It's the same story. They do this because they need an excuse to step up their military expenditure, which is, of course, as you know, a big business. So it was the FBI director, Christopher Wray, and the MI5 director, General Ken McCallum. And they were focusing on China, and they were claiming that its government is looting companies on their world-leading expertise, technology, research, and commercial advantage. They say the Chinese Communist Party poses a global threat and stress the need to protect corporate secrets from its grasp. And then he was making some comments that the US was not at war for only 16 years throughout its 240 plus years of history, which made it known as the most warlike nation in the history of the world. He said, adding that the United States has abused its economic, scientific, and military dominance and stoked division and conflicts around the world. So it's absolutely correct. And they continue to say that China is the enemy, China is the threat, China is the source of all evil in Asia. They continue to say it, and they are not being shy about it. They continue to step up the pressure. But the interesting part is that actually the United States is doing everything that they are accusing China of. So, talking about some hypocritical behavior from both the United Kingdom and the United States. And recently there was some reports that the head of the Taiwan Affairs Office, Liu Zhiji, He wrote in China's People Daily that the reunification with Taiwan should be promoted as part of China's rejuvenation. He said that tensions and dangers across the Taiwan Strait should gradually be resolved as China grows. But of course, the United States gets in the way, and in recent years, as we mentioned before, the US has stepped up cooperation and its informal ties with Taiwan. For decades, China has maintained that it seeks peaceful reunification with Taiwan, and Beijing has an interest in avoiding wars, and it has a robust trade relationship with the island. And they say the peaceful development of cross-trade relations is the main method of China's Taiwan policy. However, they have already declared that there is a serious red line and that the US support for independence forces on the island could lead to war, but that hasn't stopped the US from increasing cooperation with Taipei and working to boost its military presence in the region. So, like I said already before, this is their same strategy. They want to provoke a reaction from China, and then they will do exactly what they are doing now with Ukraine. So no news. It's just the same playbook, same rules, same actions. Nothing really changed. And recently there was this meeting between Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and this was in Indonesia, in Bali, July 9th. So what happened there was that they say they were aiming at keeping the difficult US relationship with China stable and preventing it from veering inadvertently into conflict. So it is only difficult because they made it so. The United States makes it difficult. They don't want to be partners with China. They want to subjugate China, keep it down, and that's why they make it difficult. That's the only reason. There is no other reason for all this, But at the same time, he said there is no substitute for face-to-face diplomacy, and in a relationship as complex and consequential as the one between the United States and China, there is a lot to talk about. That's the only positive thing, that they continue to talk, unlike the relationship with Russia, where since they already got the war they wanted, they decided to not talk anymore with any kind of diplomats from the Russian side, So they say that in this meeting, Blinken is expected to repeat warnings to China not to support Russia's war in Ukraine. And they say Taiwan, they are going to discuss about Taiwan, China's extensive South China Sea claims, its expansion of influence in the Pacific, human rights, and trade tariffs. They don't care about human rights, but they made it look like they care, because they support authoritarian regimes all over the world, and only where human rights are important is where they decide they are important. So they say both sides share an interest in keeping the relationship stable. China and the United States are two major countries, so it's necessary for the countries to maintain normal exchanges. This was coming from Wang. And he says that they were going to talk about a possible meeting between President Biden and Xi. And they say the United States calls China its main strategic rival and is concerned it might one day attempt to take over the self-ruled democratic island of Taiwan, just as Russia attacked Ukraine. So you see, it's the same exactly. And they even recognize that that's the whole thing, But this guy, Daniel Crittenbrick, said that he will have this, or the US will have this opportunity to convey our expectations about what we will expect China to do and not to do in the context of Ukraine. As you know, Beijing and Moscow recently announced this no limits partnership, but the US officials have said they have not seen China evade US-led sanctions on Russia or provided with military equipment. China has, however, declined to condemn Russia's actions and criticized the sanctions. And US officials have warned of consequences, including sanctions, should China start offering material support for Russia's war effort. So I saw this kind of rhetoric several times, but I wanted to give you some more opinion about this. Let's finish first this. So they also said that Biden has been considering scrapping tariffs on a range of Chinese goods to curb surging US inflation. So that's the only reason why they want to remove the tariffs, because they are affecting them. Okay, so going back to this situation here, they say they want to tell China what they will expect them to do or not to do in the context of Ukraine, so support for Russia. And they are saying that they don't want China to provide Russia with military equipment. And they say they don't want China to offer material support for Russia. So this is the bulk of the things that I want to say, is that this is also very hypocritical. There are more than 30 countries supporting Ukraine, and they decided unilaterally that Ukraine is the victim, Ukraine needs to have support, and Russia is needs to be condemned, in a consensus. But because they haven't seen this consensus happen worldwide, many countries have declined condemning Russia. They have declined imposing sanctions on Russia, and now they are worrying that China will want to support Russia. So why will China not want to support Russia? They are their trading partner, very important trading partner, and like you say, they recently declared that they have this alliance, between them, this partnership, no limits partnership, and they were forced basically to do this, even though it was before actually the Ukraine invasion started. I think after China saw what happened to Russia, they will feel more inclined to continue this partnership and maybe increase it. But I don't see why China cannot support Russia. I don't say Russia needs the support, at least not military equipment, in my opinion. I don't think it needs them. But if China were going to do it, what will be the problem? I don't see any limits that China will try to plain say it. So what? I'm supporting Russia. So what? What are they going to do about it? Impose sanctions on China? Let them try. Let them try. Let's see what will be the consequence of imposing sanctions on China. No, it will completely destroy the economy of all the world, including all the Western countries. The main economies of the West will be completely obliterated. So I don't see how they can do anything to China to prevent them from supporting Russia if it wishes to do it. So they are, yes, this very pretentious attitude. They want to be dominant. They want to dictate people what to do. But that time is over. That time is over. It finished. The time when there was only one superpower in the world is ended. And they know it. They sense it. But they still continue to have this very aggressive behavior. They want to be dominating every single aspect in the world, in every sphere, and they are no longer capable of maintaining all these things. Basically, because they created enemies everywhere. Most countries, if they had the opportunity to take on the United States and destroy their military, they will do it. and that's not me saying it. It's a lot of countries, they are just pretending to be friends with the United States just because they don't have the capability to step up to them and tell them what they really think. That's my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about this, and as always I ask you to please like this video, share it in social media, and subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.